Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this video I have for you a 10 versus 10 on loop, and I'm going to be playing with the 8th Infantry Division. This video I wanted to bring to you guys today because it shows off the new destruction mode that came out, I guess, a couple of months now actually, but I haven't actually got around to talking about it. It's not really a new mode. Destruction is a mode that actually originally popped up in European Escalation back in the day, Wargame European Escalation that is, and then it was kind of preceded by Conquest that became more popular in Air, Land, Battle and Red Dragon. So that's what we have in WARNO as a standard now. But they of course have brought back Destruction because it is a fan favourite, and it's a game mode that basically rewards you points based on what you kill, and capturing the sectors improves your income as opposed to improving your score. So it just allows you to bring in more units, which will allow you then to more efficiently destroy enemy units with a numerical advantage, and that's pretty much how the game works. So at the start here you can see I have brought in these Jäger, pretty standard start. I'm up against Plop here, who is going to be using the Spetsnaz. Plop was playing with the KDA, and you can see my Jäger already absolutely annihilated. We've got Eagles out at the start, we've got MiG-29, there was even a napalm run that was pretty late. But yeah, we're already in a skirmish here. My Jäger really not going to last too well, but I'm making sure to get all of my rockets onto his transports, because killing the transports in this game mode is actually pretty important, because they give you points. So very important. Again there, look, 260 points, SU-24M gets shot down. The other thing is the points pop up even if you can't see a unit, so you'll see that later on as well. Anyway, currently struggling a little bit here. Got my mechanized rifles moving into the town, trying to just double up on numbers in order to start killing some of the Spetsnaz from range. I've also got the M113 A3s firing down the road, so they're going to be able to provide a bit of damage as well. But the main thing here is just to get my Jäger away from the Spetsnaz at close range, because they're going to really be a problem. Anyway, Alpha Jet coming in there with the napalm. Fortunately, not much in the way of AA, so I am going to be able to get away with that. And one of the Spetsnaz did go down. I'm now forcing my way onto the Spetsnaz OP here, but again, don't want to get on top of the Spetsnaz. Unfortunately, MI8 going to be killing mechanized rifles, and therefore I'm ceding back 80 points. Now my Chaparral trying to have a go at the MI8, and we do manage to shoot that down. Always looking glorious. Been a little while since I've watched or played some WARNO, as unfortunately I was ill over the Christmas period, so I do apologise for the lack of content over the new year and so on. But we're back, and I'm feeling a lot better. So anyway, thought I'd bring this game to you guys. It was played quite a while ago now, but so far so good. As you can see, we have managed to break down the Spetsnaz. The napalm strike that came in did a lot of damage to the surrounding units. We managed to break down a lot of the Spetsnaz units without losing too much of my own. I managed to get both of these Jäger out of that engagement. I did lose one of my mechanized rifles, but I would say overall we traded very well. And any Spetsnaz I can kill early on is really, really good, because the KDA only has, I think, one card of them. So I think a maximum of 4. So if they're all dead early on, then that's really good for me. I might be wrong. My memory is a little bit lacking, since I am rusty on WARNO at the moment. Anyway, finally managed to shoot down the MI2 after my Stinger manages to miss most of its missiles, and we spot ourselves another Spetsnaz squad, and now artillery coming in. Now this was a reason that I think a lot of people kind of moved away from Destruction back in the day, was because it became very arty spammy. You know, there's very little risk in artillery. You can kind of just fire and get kills that way. And so Destruction as a whole kind of promoted a more like campy game style where people just wouldn't really push. And so Conquest kind of became more meta because it was much more of a dynamic game that forced you to move forward. You couldn't really sit back. But in general, in Destruction, the actual map state doesn't matter. Like, this guy being on our side of the river isn't a big deal. You know, as long as Delta here is killing the units that are coming across, like, it doesn't matter really where you are. The only thing that can potentially matter in a Destruction game is how many sectors are overall captured, because one side might be getting a huge income advantage over the other if you're not too careful. Anyway, mechanized rifles trying to move up here, trying to keep the pressure on the Spetsnaz. I've got my Yig Aufkladder back here at the M113A2 supply. Got them back to full strength. Got the Chaparral's missiles again. And they're going to be bringing in more reinforcements. So, just like the Conquest game mode, keeping your troops topped up with supply is very, very important. Maybe even more so in Destruction, because losing a unit gives your opponents points. Whereas in Conquest, sometimes it might be worth making or sacrificing a unit in order to gain ground. Whereas in Destruction, it is not, in any case whatsoever. Because gaining ground doesn't win you the game. Killing things does. So currently we're up to 1,075 points. We're not the highest kills on the team at the moment, or in the game at the moment. We got Visitik. I'm gonna absolutely butcher that guy's name. 1,630 points. He's doing very, very well. But at the moment, just continuing the pressure. As long as I can stay on top of like the damage squads here, I can continue to get points. So that is the plan. Bringing up some more mechanized rifles. The Jaegers coming in here just to kind of create an infantry blob that I can continue to push forwards. Do need to be a bit careful though of bombers, as they will, of course, be able to get massive collateral kills that can provide a lot of kills, a lot of points, sorry. And in, I guess, Destruction, it would probably be worth sacrificing like a 200 point plane if you could get 300 points of kills, right? So there is definitely that benefit. Like, it's still worth doing that in Conquest, but maybe not so much. But another Aufkladder goes down there, another 50 points for my mechanized rifles, so that's very nice. Now my mechanized rifle looking for the HGM kill onto the OSA AKM. Unfortunately, missing those. The Dragon 2s not being the most reliable HGM in the world. Another one flying right over the top. And missing. Classic. Another Aufkladder in my way. They're going to get absolutely wiped. These mechanized rifles are very nice because they have 7 M16s and 3 M249s. This was another reason actually that I wanted to show off this game, was because I haven't really played the 8th Infantry on the channel for a while. They kind of specialize in these sort of big infantry squads supported by sort of medium armor and helicopters. So, well, I guess maybe not so much helicopters. You do get like the AH-1F Cobras, which I'm obviously using, but it's not a massive staple. I guess there's the aircraft side of things. You get like the Raven, you get the Eagles and stuff like that. So they've got some cool units for sure. But yeah, the main thing is just like their chunky infantry supported by their transports and sort of like the medium armor as well. MiG-27 there, going to be coming in, getting a kill onto one of my infantry units. Certainly not worth it though, as it does get shot down. And currently, as a team, we're losing. 7,500 points now for our opponents, 6,790 points for ourselves. So I'm going to continue to try and push forwards, find some more kills for our team. And this is one thing that's kind of cool about this game as well, or this game mode. It's like you don't have to spread out across the map. You can kind of focus on your sector very much so. And it doesn't matter too much as long as you're still finding kills. Like if I were to stay here and then like my opponent wasn't coming in to try and challenge me, then it's kind of pointless in me fighting here and I should probably fight somewhere else. But as long as I'm coming across enemy units, it's still good for me to just continue funneling resources into this area so that I can push back Misoplop here, which I've managed to do pretty successfully so far. So M3 113A2 going to be hanging out with the M48A1 Chaparral. If you're ever using Chaparrals, do make sure you have supply with them at all times. They will run out extremely fast because they only have 4 missiles. And yeah, you need to have supply to get those sorted. Now I do spot this Mutschützenführer. Of course, leaders worth a lot of points. So I'm going to be trying to get my Jäger on target here to mow them down before they can escape. That is also going to give us the sector. Not so much important in this game mode, but will give us basically more income as a team. So that's handy. Now I do manage to kill the Mutschützenführer there, so that was really, really good. Another 120 points in the pocket. And more supply is arriving to keep my units topped up. And of course, like the Chaparral, for example, which has just killed that Mi-8T. Another 100 points in the bank. So we managed to push my opponent completely out of the sector now. We're going to come under a bit of rocket artillery fire. Fortunately, rocket artillery at the moment, not so good. But as you can see, Mr. is going to surrender at this point because I've destroyed the majority of his forces. And we now have the top killer on the opposing team going to throw some units at us. So the artillery's come in. It's caused cohesion issues to my Jäger. And now Ivistek is pushing in with Dessau Sapli, these UAZs. I think the OSA was the AI of Misaplop, kind of suiciding, so don't mind that. But yeah, this player now having a go. I'm in a good position to kind of stop a push like this, but if the Dessau Sapli get close, they will do a lot of damage to the Jäger, and you can see that already starting to happen here. The M13A2 supply was coming up to make sure these remain healthy, but when they're under fire I can't reload them, so yeah, Jäger there really, really suffering. Chaparral also going to get caught out by the Desaniki Metis. Sapli going to jump forwards, take out my Jäger there. And the nice thing about these Desan Sapli is they're really cheap, 30 points apiece, so he's getting a lot of value out of these if he kills a Jäger squad, because my Jäger squad is 50 points. So it pretty much pays off for like 2 of his units. But so far, it hasn't been too bad. I mean, I've lost the Jäger, we lost the Chaparral, that was really bad, the HGM kill there. Chaparrals aren't that expensive, you know, they're only like, what, 75 points? They're not the most expensive AA in the world. But losing one is not ideal. Anyway, more Stingers going to be coming in here. Getting up lots of AA in a destruction game is a really good idea because planes are worth a lot. So shooting them down and making that a priority is not only good for your own unit preservation, but also to gain score. Now, meanwhile, on the left, I am bringing in an M1A1 and an M48A1 Chaparral. I saw an opportunity here to get a few kills because they were kind of struggling a little bit, and this guy who was pushing the enemy guy was getting a little bit over aggressive, so I did bring in the M1A1, brought in the M48 just to get some AA up. Again, AA, easy kills, easy points. AH1F, going to be getting some rockets on target, but unfortunately flies too close to the sun. Flat SFL, absolutely brutal. And that gets shot down. This thing is disgusting, and that was actually the AI that managed to find that kill and then reverse it away after the fact, which I found to be quite interesting movement from the AI there. Anyway, currently things are slowing down a lot on this front, and the guy who tried to push in now also surrendered. I seem to be having quite the negative effect on the enemy team, on their morale. So both of the people who were trying to push into me have now surrendered. So what I'm going to do is start trying to put some pressure further to the left, find some kills over here instead. Because unless the AI is going to like run in at me, there's not much point in me trying to get across the bridge because I'll probably just end up getting ambushed by all sorts of stuff. So we're just going to chill here. I'm going to set up a defense and we'll push over to the left side. Now M1A1 going to be moving into position with the M48A1 Chaparral on the left side in the meantime, and yeah, just moving stuff up, getting it resupplied. M13, get the M13A1 or A3 Dragon in there as well. and then just moving some mechanized rifles over to the left side just to accompany the M1A1 so they're not completely unsupported. Unfortunately, Fallschirmjäger there going to get caught out by the the Chaparral's going to get caught out by the Fallschirmjäger. They managed to get a shot onto the Chaparral. Now OH-58 coming over for some recon. Recon is very important in destruction, particularly because you don't want to get ambushed and lose like expensive units unnecessarily. I mean, moving in the M1A1s here is actually kind of risky because I don't know what's here. And you can see the M1A1 currently coming under fire by the TO-55 and an HGM from the building. If both of those TO-55s were a bit closer, they could have done some serious damage. Thankfully, that's all they were. I've now got an M11 OA2 on the field. Big old howitzer. 203mm. And you can see that absolutely slapped the Thessaloniki Metis that was sitting across from me on this river. So the Jaeger Aftaler just currently keeping eyes out. Anything that moves forwards here we can just slap with that arty now. Another benefit of playing the 8th is that they do get access to these M11Os and they are extremely strong. But already going to be coming under fire from counter battery. This is another thing you've got to really watch out for in destruction. There is going to be a lot of artillery, so you've got to keep them moving. And of course they're moving straight after I'm fired upon. So currently just no recon here whatsoever. Like I was kind of, I think, used to having my recon on this side. This is a little bit risky of me, having the mechanized rifles move all the way up to this bridge, because they're the one that's capturing the sector right now. But the main reason I was moving this up was to give veterancy to the Stingers as well as the other units that were on the side here, and you can see that definitely benefited that Stinger in hitting the aircraft as it got shot down. This M48A1 Chaparral came up, tried to have a go at the MA8T. I think it might have also shot down a different aircraft. But the 30mm grenade launcher now opening up onto the mechanized rifles. That's not so good, but nice shot coming in there from the M1A1, destroys that grenade launcher unit. Now a T-80 BVK putting down the fire. I was going to show it off, but it decided to hide. There it is. Now trying to get across the bridge. Absolute beast of a tank. Gonna come under fire from my M1A1. And my M1A1, as long as the cohesion stays relatively good, can get some decent rate of fire down. And you can see I have already managed to land 3 shots, but as soon as the T-80 BVK hits me, I'm going to smoke off because it can 2-shot my M1A1. So I don't want the second shot to land and do the job. I've also, in the meantime, moved back my other M1A1 so that we can get that fixed up. I'm going to be bringing up the Hempt to adjust that. Our supply vehicle on its way. Taking a little bit of a scenic route there around the corner. And my M11Os moving again every time they fire. Very important. And I've now got recon. So this is probably one of the most important parts of this push. The LRS squads coming in with their recon so that I can see what I'm firing at. And all the units that were hidden here, that were firing at me previously, will no longer be hidden. M1 on the left, M1A1, just chilling, watching the road. Su-24 does get shot down. So now we're up to 15,420 points. And our opponents are on 13,690. So we have taken the lead. But you can see, even though we have like a really strong mid-map position here, on the right, things are relatively even actually, but on the left things were quite one-sided towards our opponent for a while. Now again, map state doesn't really matter all that much, but what I will say is that it can allow you to invest in things, more things like artillery. And here, managing to get a lovely counter battery kill there onto, I think that was like an enemy Gvozdika or something like that. So just doing my own counter battery, catching out my opponent. So Hemp's almost arrived. Once these guys get fixed up, I'm going to be able to push back into this sector and try and find myself some more kills. It's all about the kills in this. You don't care about capping. Like, you do want to counter cap to prevent them from getting as many reinforcements in, but at the same time you do need to be careful. I'm briefly going to be seeing the grenade launcher team there, but don't want to be engaging them with the LRS because they will die a horrible death. Yeah, the Hemp's getting the fix here, so the M1A1 fully fixed up. Mechanized rifles getting their men back. C-25 hanging about, it's not good. Again, artillery coming in, looking for counter battery. This artillery is so strong, and a nice direct hit there. Gonna be getting the job done. F-15 coming in, playing with fire, that's for sure. But the MiG-31 did actually get shot down. Now double Su-25 coming in for kills onto the M1A1HA, and he does manage to find it. And the Apache going down there, beautiful kills for Wooden Box. As this one shifts over to the right side though, it does get shot down, almost destroys my M113 by crashing into it. The M1A1's now pushing forwards, accompanied by the LRS. We should be able to see some decent targets. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically counter-battering, moving, counter-battering every time I see an enemy fire. So they're currently firing back at me, so I know exactly where they are. And hopefully I'll be able to find another kill there onto the enemy artillery. I do have to be careful about these helicopters. I do have a chaparral a little bit further back. Should have probably had a second one, maybe some stingers here as well. But as soon as I see these starting to make a move forwards, chaparral's now moving up. This one is 3 veterancy due to the fact that it has killed enemy aircraft already. Stinger's currently trying to have a go, not having too much luck. So I'm just going to attack move this to the left hand side. And we're going to see those rocket shots come in there. Mi-8 does get taken out. Mi-24V swiftly follows. Beautiful couple kills there. Also going to be taking down an Mi-8 that was hanging about on this side. Sting has to take care of that. So a good sequence of kills. I'm currently up to 3,245 kills, which I think has put me into the lead in terms of points per person. So M1A1 going to be able to deal with the TO-55 here, so killing off these UAZs. You definitely want to make sure that you have the setting that automatically targets transports on in this game mode. Same with supply. Killing supply, killing these transports, you can see it all really adds up. I'm not entirely sure what the score limit was, but I assume it's 40,000 there, because we're almost halfway and it's 20,000, so that makes sense. And we have 37 minutes left on the clock. Now I was a little bit worried going into this that this game would take forever, because I think the time total was like an hour. But you can see we have taken the lead. I'm just trying to find myself as many more kills as possible, and the AI also bringing in troops here now is good for us because we're going to be able to kill those pretty simply. Mechanized rifle looking for a dragon kill onto the UAZ. M1A1 beats us to it. Now the T-62M going to be going down as well. You see artillery coming in for the Cub. That's going to get hit directly by the tank just before the artillery follows up. Mi-8 of the AI just going to be getting blown out the sky that tries to scout. But things got very close again. You can see we're only 1,000 points ahead of our opponents, and I wasn't really sure what happened. It's very difficult sometimes to keep track. If someone brings in like a couple of Eagles, for example, and they both get killed, then what can you do, right? They're like almost 300 points each. So you do have to be a bit careful when we use like more expensive units in this game mode for sure, because you can cause your team to lose because of it. But then again, those expensive units can often get a lot of kills, particularly like air-to-air with the Eagles, for example. Thing it trying its best to shoot down the Mi-24P, currently failing pretty hard. I did lose my mechanized rifle here, unfortunately, to the rockets of that Mi-24P, so that was a bit unfortunate. I should have had my AA further up, and we could have taken that out nice and easy. Mechanized rifles is a grim guy, trying again. My M1A1 on the left was sat here for a long time providing fire support, ended up being damaged, so currently going to get that fixed up. Artillery still finding new targets. You can see I'm currently firing at the unit back here, but you'll see that I spotted a supply truck resupplying a helicopter and a Gvozdika, which is the enemy artillery. So I'm going to be targeting that with both of the howitzers. Now this, guys, is going to be one of the most satisfying artillery shots you have ever seen. Another Mi-8 going down. AI was loving to suicide those, but here we go. Artillery shot coming in. Boom. Just like that, one shot goes straight into the supply truck, which blows up the helicopter, and then the second shot comes in, hits the Gvozdika and kills it. And in just 2 seconds, all of those units are destroyed. Absolutely beautiful. Now my M110 going to be targeting the T80 BVK. Looking to try and damage that, force it out of the sector maybe, because it's most likely the only thing that's actually capturing the sector. Now, M110s can do a lot of damage, but I think even you guys will be surprised by how much it does do as the shots start coming in. There we go, nice direct hit. Another direct hit. And boom. 290 points down the drain. Just like that. 2 M110s with 2 shots remaining managed to completely kill the T80 BVK. That was just such a nasty kill. Now M1A1's happy to move across because they don't have to worry about getting side shot. You're going to be able to run down all of the units on this side of the river here, and the Kubs, the Osa completely out of position right now. It's a lot of like Descent Eaglers and so on. I've got my artillery coming in on this. I think teammates had artillery coming in on this as well. So things absolutely brutal right now for Spliffer over here. And there you go. Bam, artillery shells coming in. Every new unit that's arriving just getting absolutely demolished by these shots. And meanwhile, the M1A1s moving across to clean up. So, big kills. Managed to move all the way from right to left here. McShab, he's pushed all the way across towards the enemy's spawn. And would you look at that, it's another surrender. Spliffer is out the game. So we've got to go find our kills elsewhere as we move up to 25,495 kills. Another person on the enemy team surrenders as well. So now I'm going to be looking on the left to try and get myself some more points. So, mechanized rifles on the way. We have 2 in the M35s. I've got 4 in the M113A3s. The M113A3s with that 50 cal support are actually pretty nice, especially if you keep them at range, because the 50 cal does have, I think, 1,250 meter range, which outranges a lot of the infantry AT. So yeah, as long as you keep them at a distance, unless it's an HGM, you should be absolutely fine. And it's usually quite easy to identify Soviet HGM infantry because they have like Metis written in the name, or Well, yeah, I guess that's just the case generally, or they're Conkers or Fargo squads. So, yeah. M1A1, just chilling. We're a little bit worried about that rocket artillery coming in just in case it was cluster, but turned out to be nothing to worry about. But yeah, more infantry arriving, just kind of solidifying this position. We've got the LRS on this bridge, got the LRS on the left side, got the chaparral covering on there, got more M1A1s just coming in to bolster this up. And we can just slaughter anything that tries to come across these bridges. Meanwhile, EM10 now targeting enemy artillery on this side of the map, looking for enemy rocket artillery or tube artillery, and you can see I do manage to hit a supply there, 20 points. This is kind of one thing that I do like about destruction, but also don't like, is that you can confirm your kills without seeing them. But at the same time, like, it's kind of, I feel like it's a bit gamey. It's like it's a bit of a weird mechanic overall. Anyway, more infantry coming in. Got some engineers with flash launchers on the way, so that I can fight in the close combat much easier. Although at the moment we're just up against KDA Schützen, the mechanized rifles are pretty effective at dealing with those. Also, these M113A3s are also going to be very useful with their 50 cals. So the range on this, 1,200 meters, and if you look at like the launcher here of like the KDA Schützen, it's only 675. It's almost double the range of an infantry squad. So if you use the 50 cals properly, you can really do a number on enemy infantry. So KDA Schützen going to be going down there. Unfortunately, Fullman struggling a little bit with his armoured rifles. Not really the best infantry for this position. His Milans, if they can get the stun like that onto an enemy unit, can kill very efficiently. And if you're able to pick off units one by one, it's easily like the best way to do it. But big artillery now coming in. Big rocket artillery going to be stunning all of these units. I'm going to be bumping into a bunch of Strelas on this left side. Look at that. I brought in a Seed Raven. It's lucky to be alive. This thing does have like the highest ECM of any aircraft. It's got like 60%. So that's probably the only reason it managed to survive then, because that was a lot of fire coming towards them. I mean, also these Strela 10Ms, or 2Ms, sorry, only have 30% accuracy, so there is that. But yeah. If you take 60% from that, that will get the accuracy per missile. If enough missiles are fired, I mean, you're probably going to get hit eventually. And I did get hit at least once. Abrams still providing an absolute rock of a unit here for my surrounding units. All of the units that do get damaged, I am sending them all the way back. My intention will be to get them fixed up and send them back forwards. My engineers with the flash launchers have arrived. I've also managed to bring up the LRS, and I've got a PVADS. Now the PVADS, not the best for tackling aircraft, but very good for tackling enemy helicopters, and particularly like stunning them. So that's what I was planning to use it for, especially in conjunction with the chaparral. And Buratino does come in there. Fortunately, doesn't really hit my M1A1. Mechanized rifles get away with it as well. M1A1 looking for kills as these transports and so on retreat. And yeah, I'm pretty much fully focused on this left side now, because as you can see, my M1A1's just set up. I even brought Totu in here. I've just solidified this area, and yeah, just going to be focusing on pushing up this left side. Big artillery coming in now. Going to be pulling away from that as soon as possible. I do have my artillery coming in, so that's where those kills are popping up from. And this side of the map was absolutely brutal. Look at all of the trucks. Let me just minimize this so you guys get more screen space and you can just admire the destruction a little bit. I mean, this is what you could call ultimate destruction, I suppose. Like, you wouldn't want to be in one of these trucks going into this. Let's be honest. Like, good luck, guys. Good luck. POV of a Russian soldier in World War III. Absolutely crazy. Radiation just being forced forwards. Rockets are coming in there pretty nasty onto the Warrior Milans. Apologies for a little bit of the lag. Of course, there is a lot going on. M1A1 looking for the kill onto the T-55. We got the track Rapier coming in there, getting the kill onto the helicopter. KDA shoots and just got nowhere. Absolutely mullered out in the open. Destroyed. Artillery and everything coming in. Just a brutal killing field. Absolutely brutal. Su-22 now coming in for the bombing strike. Really, really nasty bombing strike there. It's a lot of my units, and it's not even going to get shot down. Su-22 gets out alive. Absolutely the luckiest aircraft ever. Ridiculous. Like, it does have a decent amount of VCM, I suppose, but you can see we have now pushed quite significantly forwards in points. We're now up to 34,400. Right side's still sitting at the 50-50 on the river here, but most other places on the map our team has broken through. And you can see Mario here is currently just farming AI at the back of the map. So it's giving us a lot of points. Meanwhile, I'm of course still pushing up on the left hand side, getting lots of kills in here. Up against Sleepy Joe. Mechanized rifles finally arrive at the supply. I need to get supply in for the Chaparral and the PVADs though. Just to fix them up. I also need to get the Abrams fixed up. Finally managed to kill the Pioneer Führer, so that gives us the sector as a whole. I think our income at this point was absolutely nuts, because we controlled so much of the map. You can see that the enemy team, like, only controls 2 sectors. so big, this map. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, like Charlie and Mike, whereas we pretty much as a team controlled the rest. So yeah, our income was pretty damn high. Allowed me to bring in loads of Abrams, loads of infantry. Every time you see me bringing in stuff, I'm just bringing in huge blobs. Like, this is a good example. Grim Guy bringing in loads of M2A Bradleys. Kansi is just like, oh, I'm going to bring in loads of M48s. Just because you have like such an abundance of points that you can use to try and get the better of your opponents. MTLB going to get popped by the M1A1. Have to be a little bit careful about things coming down the road here. As soon as I get a second M1A1, it's not so bad. I was also still arting the whole time, as you can see. So I've got arty just looking to hit the enemy artillery here, and I managed to hit one. There we go, 240 points. Bam. Just like that. Now the Ravens coming over for seed with the Fighting Falcons. The Fighting Falcons doing a decent job there, actually, of taking out enemy aircraft, but the Ravens not really finding any targets. No radar AA to be seen. Mi-24s now moving up with the Mi-8s. My M1A1's a little bit overextended. Thankfully, Foreman does have a track Rapier here, so that is going to help us out a little bit. There's potential for me to maybe smoke if I need to. A nice couple kills for the track Rapier. This Mi-24 is quite damaged. So track Rapier finishes that off, and got lots of veterancy from killing the first two, so you can see it was 3-vet AH-1F helping the AH-64 utterly destroy that unit. And now 21 minutes left on the clock, but only 2,400 points-ish, well, 2,300 points-ish until we win in kills, that is. Got the Raven coming over once again, just to make sure there's Not any new units to worry about. You can see the cub there. Does end up getting taken out, but so does my Raven. Gets shot down by the MiG, which swiftly follows. Just absolute devastation on this side. Again, we just zoom in here and move forwards and we just see everything's on fire. Artillery still coming in on the back, destroying enemy artillery pieces. Mechanized rifles finally making their way back to the front. And they've got a smoky view ahead of them. Now the AH-1F going to be going to fly forward. So I realised that there really wasn't much in the way of AA. So AH-1F going to be just using its chain gun and rushing forwards and trying to kill as much of the artillery as possible. You can see we're at 39,790 points. I do come across a couple of these units here, but unfortunately that's going to be all she wrote. And GG after 40 minutes and 27 seconds. 7,005 kills to 1,670 losses, and destruction's all about KD, and somehow managed to get the best KD. Which was nice. Not the reason that I wanted to share this video, just kind of cherry on top, I suppose. Yeah, I think Destruction game mode, it brings a very different style of game to WARNO. One that I think is welcomed by a lot of the old school war game players, as well as people who like to play against AI. I think Destruction definitely suits like skirmish versus AI stuff quite a lot, like comp stomping and so on. Because people just like to focus on kills rather than having to worry about the conquest points. You can just like play the map exactly how you want to, rather than having to be forced to push forwards in order to capture ground. So yeah, I think Destruction's good fun, and I really wanted to have a chance to show it off, and this was the perfect game to do so. Obviously got pretty wild there towards the end. The amount of units you can get on the field in a Destruction game is crazy, because of the income that you eventually end up getting, especially like if you're on the winning team. The M1A1 there, look at that, glorious. These M1A1s were doing fantastically well. The M110 as well, Gvozdyk kill, the beautiful shot onto the Ural that killed the Mi-24, killed the T-80 there. Again, M1A1's doing very, very well for me throughout the game, getting a lot of kills. The M110's also getting those. Yeah. Honestly, just a really solid game. We managed to push our initial opponent, they surrendered. Another opponent came in, they surrendered. We went and pushed across, they surrendered. And then we pushed on the left side and finished off the game. Although I think there was a big exchange on the right side that ended up causing the game to end. Yeah, anyway. Fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.